I'm Joey.T.Cartoon.P and you're watching the Cartoon Palooza. This is a new segment on the show where I take a look at an animated film in production that's based on an animated show or property of some sort, and I tell you how I should make it. Now, I'm not a professional in any way, shape, or form, and all my comments are strictly opinion-based. So if anybody has something else to say, feel free to send me a video response or comment below and let me know what you think. Even tweet me your thoughts and hashtag it with Cartoon Palooza. In any way, shape, or form, your comments may be just as legitimate as my own. So what movie would be better to start off with than the upcoming adaptation of the popular Sailor Man himself, Popeye? Oh hell yeah, I friggin' love this badass. Popeye stands as the original badass in American animation. Even through the years with the change in art direction and animation style, Popeye the Sailor shows off his skills by beating up baddies, speaking gibberish, and eating spinach the whole way through. Created by I. Seeger in a comic published by King Syndicate, Popeye would eventually grow in popularity and appear in movies, TV, video games, and hundreds of advertisements. He even made an appearance in a live-action movie in the 70s to early 80s. He hasn't aged well. But more on that later. If there's anything people can agree with, the cartoon produced by the Fleischers are what made the character iconic. Now, some may argue that the comic and the late famous studio shorts would play a role, but with the shorts produced by the Fleischers, who offered insane visual gags, funny quips, and the theme song we all know and love, Seeger created the characters and the iconic look, but from what I gathered, they're really just a setup for standard comic strip fare. Just regular comic strip follies, and nothing really exciting happens. Oh no, Wimpy's out of hamburger meat. Popeye must do something, and go to the grocer, and whatever. Let's just say the Fleischers took an ordinary strip and made it extraordinary. Huge, loud, over the top, and exciting are what the Fleischers made Popeye into. Not bad for the studio that would first animate Superman and give him the iconic theme.
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
As it turns out, with any cartoon that does well, it's bound to be made into a movie. As I mentioned before, the first What's in the 80s starring Robin Williams, and the upcoming animated film produced by Sony Pictures with Genndy Tarakovsky on board. This is the subject of today's video, where I assume and speculate how the animated film should look. So get your corn pipes and spinach ready, because we're going to be checking out how I would make Popeye. Popeye is one of those characters that has a very iconic look that goes back to its roots. Even as the character progressed over time, the character would still have a very slinky, rubber hose style of animation. It doesn't go completely overboard into something like an Uberworks short, but the look of the character reflects an era in which he was made. This is why I think if I were to make the movie, I would have the setting and character designed to resemble the 30s, but generally timeless, where it isn't set in the period much like a Tim Burton setting. Let's be honest, would we want to see Popeye carry around an iPod? It would also help the film give an authentic look that doesn't resemble most of the cliches of animated films to fall prey to. With that said, I doubt we'll be seeing Olive Oyl and Wimpy popping lock and wearing hoodies anytime soon. Ugh. There isn't going to be an argument that the film won't be computer animated as opposed to hand-drawn. The studio producing the film made nothing but CG films, so I wouldn't expect anything different. In some ways, it makes me a little disappointed that a character who's built such a reputation on old-school animation will become a computer-generated model. It isn't the first time, and unfortunately the first go-around really sucked. However, I am going to be giving credit where credit is due, and Sony Pictures Animation has been taking animation away from those naturalistic, realistic looks and going for a more cartoonier edge, which seems appropriate for Popeye. Basically, Sony Pictures are making cartoons that act more like cartoons as opposed to striving for realism. Examples are A Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs adaptation and Hotel Transylvania, which was also directed by Genndy Tarakovsky. If you didn't know, Genndy is responsible for creating Cartoon Network shows like Samurai Jack, Symbiotic Titans, and one of my favorite animated shows from my childhood, Dexter's Laboratory. From what I gather when looking at animation in Transylvania, he definitely played with a 2D aesthetic necessary in computer animated movies. Especially for something like Popeye, which was also made during a time of experimentation in animation. Popeye is not realistic, nor will it ever be if it had been attempted. Popeye's a character where you would believe a character with 2x4s for arms could exist. However, I want to challenge Tarakovsky, or at least I want to see him challenge this. I want to know if he's going to use miniature sets like the Fleischers did in their shorts with the computer animated characters. The Fleischers were responsible for patenting a special technique that controversially Disney used for the multipoint effect to create depth. The Fleischers had made miniature sets and had the animated characters move in the space given to them, and the characters had more depth that produced favorable results like in the feature shorts Popeye meets Sinbad or Popeye meets Alibaba. Seeing a pattern? And honestly, with the 3D gimmick that's been going around these days, it could actually work in its favor. It makes me wonder if Tarakovsky will produce the characters on the computer and have actual miniature sets for the characters to interact with. It's been done before with computer animation produced in a live-action set like in the Disney film Dinosaur, and most recently in the fantastic flying books of Mr. Morris Lesmore. Coincidentally, the creators of that short were influenced by the Fleischers technique, and it's gone on to win an Academy Award. So I don't think you'd want to miss out on this golden opportunity. Golden opportunity. Yeah? This one's going to be a little bit more complicated, since it's hard to really say for who and what should play certain roles, hence my lack of professionalism. I, however, feel as if any of these characters could be played by any actor. Tarakovsky and his team could work their magic and make even the most unlikable of actors suit their respective roles. Heck, we've seen what he's done to Adam Sandler in Hotel Transylvania. Imagine what he could do for characters that are so well known that I can imitate them. Though if I had to choose what they might have for Olive Oyl, Kristen Schaal does come to mind. I think we've seen her play enough quirky female characters to know that she can pull off the famous parody of the damsel in distress. Somehow she does sound and look like the dorkier version of Mae Questel, doesn't she? However, I think I know the perfect person to play Popeye in this film, and to be honest, he's already played the role.
I'll tell you what a paramecium is. That's the paramecium. It's a one-celled critter with no brain that can't fly. Don't mess with me, man. I'm a lawyer.
Robin Williams has made a reputation for himself as a decent voice actor, and pretty much set the trend for big-name actors to go onto animated films, with his portrayal as the genie in Aladdin. Not the first time, but he set the trend. It's better when he's still actively providing voices for animated characters, and would bring me so much happiness to go back to one of the characters that pretty much propelled him into stardom. While I don't think the live-action Popeye movie is perfect, the nostalgic value keeps me from hating the film completely. Though I think they could have done without some of the musical numbers, but that's just me. However, I felt as if Williams brought enough energy to the role, and it kept me from hating the film as well. He was Popeye. He acted like him, provided the voice like him. For all I know, he wasn't just playing the role. That's why I can't imagine anybody else in the recording booth playing Popeye, other than Robin Williams. The animators could capture his mannerisms and even use the older films for reference if he misses a thing or two due to his age. Who knows? We've seen characters and the respective actors play the roles so well that we can't see anybody else playing them. In that case, Robin Williams as Popeye is one of them. I wouldn't be disappointed if they end up getting Billy West doing the voice acting, but if it was for me, bangarang! And for one thing I want to judge for the new Popeye movie that's going to be coming out, I would like to talk about the story. I usually have a problem when short films are adapted into feature films, and there's a great level of filler that feels more like distraction as opposed to serving any substance to the film. However, with Popeye, I think there could be an exception. Popeye would have regular 6-minute shorts. While that's not a feature film going on for an hour and a half, Popeye has a cast of characters that are just as quirky and fun as Popeye. Olive Oyl is a parody of the damsel in distress. She's so over the top that she wouldn't even recognize her own strengths. Bluto, who's almost always the bad guy, usually changes in motivation. Sometimes he's the controlling overlord, or he's just a bully who doesn't know any better and just likes picking on Popeye. I think Genndy's gonna lean towards the bully archetype, however for me I'd prefer the over-controlling baddie. And then there's one of my favorite characters, Wimpy. Popeye's unreliable right-hand man whose only concern is his gut. Make him like Scrat from the Ice Age movies, doing his own thing, and that would take up 30 minutes. The same could go for Popeye's Pappy, but he's more of a crazy coot than a gluttonous klutz. The beauty with these characters is that you can have a simple premise like Popeye going treasure hunting or competing against Bluto, and it would probably suffice. If I had to choose, I would go in the directions of making this an action-adventure where Popeye has to uncover a lost treasure Indiana Jones style. He brings along his crew, and they'll pretty much have the film their own. The fact that these characters have been around for such a long time and have a plethora of fun stories to tell They could even incorporate how famous studios turned Popeye into a Navy man. But let's be honest, they could do without Popeye's annoying nephews, which pretty much turned him into Donald Duck. I would take 10 Sweet Peas over those obnoxious ripoffs. And that was my predictions for the upcoming Popeye movie, and feel free to comment and let me know what you think about the new film. I'm Joey.T.Cartoon.P, and see you next week on the Cartoon Palooza.
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish, 'cause I eat my spinach.